Welcome, everybody. My name is Angela Andrieux, and I'm a product evangelist for Mylio Photos. And today I'm joined by Rich Harrington. He's a photographer, photo educator, and on our product team. And I've asked him to come here today to share some of what we have planned for the next release of Mylio Photos, and maybe even a few tidbits about what we've got going for the future, just to kind of get you guys excited about some new stuff that's coming pretty soon. So welcome, Rich.
Thank you. Glad to be here. So yeah, there's some fun stuff. So Angela, which feature did you want to go over first?
Let's start with the nifty little feature we've added for people who use albums.
Okay. So we have a new feature for albums that is something that people have been asking for. So it's small, but it's useful. So let's say you're looking at some albums and you found a picture that you had in an album and you wanted to know, did I use that picture anywhere else? Over in info, you'll see which photo albums happen to have that picture in it now, so that you can actually see where a picture is used. So if you want to know if it's already in an album or, oh, I remember that trip, I bet I had other pictures I pulled, you could just click and go right through and you could see that you want to see that here. So I can say, oh, go ahead and show me the media. And now it's switched to that album. Or if I'm browsing on pictures and I realize that, this picture is not someplace I want, then I can actually come over here and say, add it and choose an album and put the picture in. So you get the ability to just quickly sort of see where your pictures are and what albums they're in and add them to new albums or just see. So we had this known people list for a while, like who's in this album, but people said, I want to know if that picture is used anywhere. Like I see that this picture is I put into 3 different albums. So that's a little one, but still a fun one.
I think it's a very fun one. And it's something that didn't really cross my mind until I started seeing requests after request after request. So I was really excited to see this on the list for coming very soon. As you can see, it's live in the demo version that Rich has on his computer. So you guys should have that in your hands pretty soon.
I'm gonna get the audio to come on this computer.
Sorry, I could hear you. You're not able to hear us? Is that Fran? I'm going to go ahead and mute you for now. All right.
Sorry about that. Really welcome feature. Those of us that have come off of other larger systems like Lightroom,
yep,
we had to label all of our collections, keyword all of our collections, and then when we bring them across, we have to search for the keywords, drop them in an album, and then you've got the missing ones. It's just a nightmare. This is absolutely spectacular if and when it comes.
So also I'm showing you here, maybe you noticed, but we didn't have levels before.
Oh, well, look at that.
Got some new tools here under the edit pane. So that's going to be awesome. So we can jump into that next.
And look at now. So we have now we're still tweaking the auto levels here right now. There's a little thing with the color processing, but what auto levels is able to do is actually properly balance the white and black point with just a click. So you don't have to go in and set the white and black point. We're doing a really advanced method that even Lightroom doesn't have. Photoshop has it, but it's buried. And it's an advanced method called per channel contrast. And what it does is it looks at images and allows you to fix them pretty quickly, which is cool. So that part's really welcome. And I think you'll see just a lot of useful fixes in there. Let me show as a container here. And so that makes it easy to sort of recover those things. And so I think you guys will like that. We definitely added that control. By the way, if any of you work with scanned photos, I don't know if you do, but you might have noticed that sometimes, your scans come in as inverted images. So now we have the ability that you can actually say invert. And then if you click that auto level per channel contrast, boom, instant color corrected scanned images.
That is awesome.
Isn't that cool?
And then you can still run the auto enhance on it if you want. That's up to you. But we have that functionality in there. But again, you have the ability to say, oh, that's a negative. And then if you look at the individual channels, you'd see how the histogram is all over the place. So what auto does is it moves the points to the edges of the histogram for each of the color channels. That's how it's color balancing it. So one click scan enhancement. So I worked very hard to get that one in. So I'm glad some of you at least like it. And then you can still do the rest of the editing of saturation or anything else to dial it in. But that's going to make it easy to work with those scanned photos so that instead of having, negatives, you have your positives. And then one click, all the color corrections fixed. And even if it's not a scan, that auto levels still works great on lots of other types of pictures. Like, even just my daughter getting ready for homecoming, I could still do auto levels, and it's just going to make a nice small little change there and quickly get the contrast right and the color balance right. So, yeah. Really? So we're continuing to improve that. But you'll see more and more that, we are giving you some of those tools for fixing things real quickly.
So there's another tool that was added to the edit tab that I think people might be excited about. We added a vignette tool. Do you have that one in this build?
Maybe. It might crash things, but if it does, just understand that we haven't shipped the software yet.
Yeah, it's still an early version.
Yeah. So right now, all the code is getting integrated back together again, right? So the way that a vignette tool is supposed to work is you never want to hear from somebody, nice vignette. Okay. That means it's not working. So what we've got now is this ability, besides to, sort of set the vignette, you can adjust the size. I've got it really dark here just so you can see it. As we're not going to keep it that dark. You could change the shape, so you can adjust the roundness of that vignette or the rectangularness. You could adjust the feather, and you can even adjust the rotation of the vignette, so you could change its shape. And then I'll just back that off a little bit. But that's a really nice way to dial that in. Now, we have another feature that right now is crashing the app, but it's going to allow you to sort of set where that vignette is placed. So for example, auto level, I put my vignette in. I don't want the vignette to be dead center here, right? That doesn't make any sense. So, let me just rotate that a little bit to match the statue. What I want is for that vignette to be over here. Oh, it did work and didn't crash. See? So you can actually offset your vignette and tell it where you want that vignette to be, so that you can really position it where you want it in the scene. So, so you get that ability to sort of center your vignette on the object and then, adjust that. And now it's acting as a nice lighting tool, see, sort of guiding your eye towards the subject rather than just pointing you at the middle of the picture. So Lightroom doesn't have that.
No, you have to fake it with Lightroom by using a radial filter, and it's ridiculous. It really is.
Yep. And this can be copied and pasted like other adjustments between things, or you could save presets. Remember, if you make a preset, and this is not a new feature, this has been there for a while, you can save a preset and say, oh, what's included in that preset? And you can say, what do I include? And only the changed adjustments, for example. So I can make that as a vignette and say, just save the changed adjustments, right? Don't include crop, don't include rotation, and click save. And now if I go to another picture, I could just apply just that vignette adjustment to it, right? So this is an iPhone photo. When you see that, that's because there's a baked in image with the iPhone. But if you pick a non-iPhone photo, it should be fine. But there we go. So I can now add that vignette and it would take it. I'll just duplicate it. That was another iPhone photo. But that's what's happening there is you get that ability to apply that vignette to another image. There we go. Vignette. See, and it's just the vignette. So a lot of people don't realize that that's how we have these +1 presets and other presets, brighter, darker, things like that. So you can make your own useful presets that do things. That's how like the exposure +1 or -1 works. It just adds to the existing settings.
And there was a question in the chat from George asking if these are non-destructive edits. Yes, they are fully non-destructive.
Yep.
So another thing that I'm pretty excited about is if you want to edit in other applications, we have the open with command, but we've actually made that better. And if you make adjustments inside of Mylio and then you want to take those edits to another application, you don't have to go through the steps of exporting and then getting a separate file and then taking that to another application. You can do that straight from Mylio now.
Yep. So let's say, we made some adjustments here, and I'll reset that one. I'm not going to do auto on that. Let me just do a quick fix. And maybe I did a crop, and, I had it cropped the way I wanted. I had it rotated the way I wanted. And then I decided I wanted to hand that off to another application. When you choose to open it with another application, it's going to take and give you the option to choose, open the original and prefer the raw, or edit a copy with my Mylio adjustments. And you can specify the file format and the color space.
Question on unmodified original. If the original was a raw, does it count?
Yeah, it'll send if you edit original, if it's a raw, it'll send the raw file without the Mylio adjustments.
I'm talking about the edit a copy with Mylio Photos adjustments, and it
won't make a raw file, but
okay.
That's not supposed to be there. That choice, yeah, okay. That's going out. That's
a
bug. So that defeats the purpose of edit a copy with Mylio adjustments. I had to explain to the engineer that didn't belong in that menu. So you got quick eyes. This is why it's called beta testing right now. So, but then that will just take that image, hand it off, open it up. You can do whatever you want inside of that image, right? So I had the watermark action actually turned on there, but you can turn that off too, and make any of your adjustments. And then when you're all done, you can just save that. In this case, I'm going to use a preset to add the display thing and put it back with the original. And now it'll just drop it back into my Mylio library.
Wow.
So I wonder why I had that's interesting that it had the watermark turned on. So that's a bug. So the watermark shouldn't have turned on the export there. I'm not sure why it did, but that's okay. This is why it's not shipping yet. So, we get builds each night, and Angela and I beat on them and try to find things where little things slip through so that you don't have to do them. But that's that idea that now you can control it and decide what gets handed off. So if you were working on something and you decided that you wanted to keep some of that data, you just open it and you can hand it off and decide what gets handed off.
Very nice.
Yeah. So and it works with pretty much anything you have installed.
George has a comment. He said, I'd love to be able to rotate the watermark. I don't know that we have that coming, but there's another watermark feature that I really hope makes it into this next update. Still iffy, but for those who have a graphic watermark, let's say like a photo logo or some sort of branding they like to apply, we should soon be able to use those and apply those on export from Mylio. I am super excited. So
not just text, but you should hopefully be able to do graphics down there soon too. Yep.
I've got to say that's one of the things I'm most excited about. Another feature that's coming is the quick review mode.
Sure.
You want to talk about that?
I don't know if I have that in this build, but I definitely have a recording. Let me see if it made it into this build yet. It did not. So I'll play a movie for this so you can see it. So there we go. And quick review. So what this is designed to do is allow you to quickly cull. So I know that this isn't an app that you all have active use for, but joking aside, we kind of refer to it as Tinder for your photos. So you can swipe left or swipe right and decide to keep things. For those of you not familiar with that language, you swipe to the left to leave things behind, and you swipe to the right to keep something. So you can do this really quick from your phone or tablet. You can also do it on the desktop, but touching your computer screen won't work. And you might have noticed we now have flags that allow you to reject images. So you can swipe left or right to assign a flag, and that actually assigns the metadata. One thing of note, Lightroom doesn't follow IPTC standards, so a reject flag is really a -1 star. So rejecting an image clears your stars, but that's okay. This is on the way it's supposed to work. And so you just swipe, and when you're in quick review mode, it automatically advances to the next picture after you assign it. So you can swipe left or right to flag, or drag up or down to add star ratings, and then it goes to the next image. So you could sit on the couch or at the coffee shop with your phone or your iPad or your tablet and just quickly mark up a folder of pictures and have them done.
Just out of curiosity, if you do that and then you decide to edit in Lightroom, will you lose the star, or will it
the
stay?
Stars? No, but Lightroom doesn't export flags because Lightroom doesn't follow IPTC standards.
Right. Okay.
So
All
Lightroom
right.
flags can never go anywhere but Lightroom. They never export anywhere else. They don't even work in Bridge or Photoshop. But
I know.
but our flags will go into any other program that uses IPTC standards, but the stars will. So if you've got a folder full of images and you just star rate them, when you then open them up in Lightroom or anywhere else, your stars are right there.
It's a perfect reason to completely dump Lightroom.
Well, we don't want that necessarily, but I do think that this is a nice way to like sit somewhere else besides your computer and review pictures, right?
Yeah.
And no matter what mode you're in, so this is the cull mode. You just click the little menu and choose quick review mode. But you also can use this in any mode. So if you're just browsing your pictures, if you drag up or down on the left side of the screen, you'll add a star rating. And if you drag up and down on the right side of the screen, you're adding a flag rating. So this works for touch devices. It does not work for trackpads. It has to be a touchscreen device. But if you have a touchscreen computer, a tablet, or a phone, that works. Otherwise, in quick review mode and everywhere else, you still have the little control strip at the bottom with stars that you can click on. What do you guys think of that tool?
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Okay. So flags are nice because, Angela, why don't you explain flags?
Well, I mean, it's a way to mark an image that you're not going to want to do anything with. So when I do my first pass through my culling, say I bring in a few hundred images, I will add a flag, positive flag, to the ones that I want to give more attention to, that I want to edit, that I might want to share, that I want to take a closer look at. Ones that are blurry, maybe I accidentally had the camera pointed at the ground or whatever, something that I know I was like, I don't need that image at all. First round through, I'm going to add the reject flag to those. And the cool thing with Mylio is it, similarly to Lightroom, will gray them out, but it also can hide them. So if you're not ready to delete, you can just hide them from your library so it won't clutter up the view. But once you're ready to get rid of them, you can delete all of your rejects from a folder. You can do it from all photos view and it'll delete all of the rejects from that view. So it's dependent on where you're looking at the pictures. It'll grab the rejects from that area and then you can easily get rid of them if you're ready.
Yeah. So this is how, if you've ever said, oh, I didn't mean to import that image into Mylio, and you don't want to move it out of the folder, or you imported something in a folder you don't want, you can mark it as a reject and it will become hidden or it'll become grayed out. And so, and then if you need to free up disk space, as Angela said, you just choose clean up reject photos from the organize menu, and it will say, oh, okay, well, this folder has 25 reject photos. Do you want to delete them?
Yep.
Very cool.
And you can always use filters to go back and look at those and, review them before you do that as well.
Yeah, we'll warn you before you delete if you have hidden pictures.
So it's super helpful. And it's one of those tools that it takes what Lightroom does, and it takes it a step further. It makes it super useful on mobile, brings in that reject flag, which I find extremely helpful. And I can't wait to use this.
Me too.
So does regex make sense to everybody on how you can clean up and get rid of stuff that you don't want?
Sounds great.
Good. Good.
So we have a lot of other cool things that are coming as well. Is there anything else that jumps out at you, Rich, that you want to share?
Not ready to show the extra cleanup stuff yet.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't think this is a big Instagram crowd, but you get the ability now to import from Instagram as well as Facebook and Flickr and Google to back up your pictures.
Ooh,
So if you
goody.
do have stuff on Instagram and you want to back it up, we'll connect to your Instagram account and let you download it.
A fun one that I'm looking forward to as well is if you've used other programs that have keyboard shortcuts for going from single image view back to the grid view, and you're used to using that G key to go back, we'll now have the G key. So currently in Mylio Photos, you can hit escape and go back a view, but having the G key to go back to grid is going to be, again, something I've just gotten used to and wasn't there, and I'm going to be very happy that it is.
Hi, Jefferson.
Cameo moment there.
Yeah, I saw Jefferson logged in a second ago. So there he is. Yeah. So
Awesome.
this makes it easy for you to be on a photo and then hit G to go back. We have a whole list of keyboard shortcuts we're updating as well as cleaning up the preferences sometime soon. But little things like that. We also, besides doing big things, tried to do some of the little things that people had been asking for just to make it easier to do cleanup and stuff like that. So G key takes you right back.
Yep. So if you're curious about some of the other things we have coming, once we have that list finalized, if you're a member of our insiders group in the community, that's probably going to be the first place that you're going to see them before they even come out to the public. Rich, thank you so much for joining us, showing us all the new cool stuff, spending time with us. We will turn you loose to go have dinner now.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Have a good night, everybody.